Hello and welcome again to Immigration News and Views. My name is David Nachman. I'm one of the managing attorneys at the Nachman, Fawan, and Zimochek Law Group with offices located in Ridgewood, New Jersey. We also have offices in Midtown Manhattan, and we also have an affiliated office in India, and we also have affiliated offices in Canada. And with me again today is Felicia Zeigman, my colleague, who also works in the business immigration arena, and Felicia also is licensed in Canada and also handles removal defense. So Felicia handles a very balanced area of the law. Felicia and I were talking actually right before the video camera was turned on, and one of the things that we were talking about is we realized that we really need to drive home for our viewers how important it is to try to plan as early as possible for April 1st, the April 1st deadline for filing H-1Bs. Now, as everyone knows, the H-1B is for a professional and specialty occupation worker. We have several other videos online which you can take a look at, which explains the H-1B visa and what it's for and who might qualify. And if you're not CAP exempt, we've talked about the CAP exemptions, and CAP exemptions are academic institutions or government research organizations, then you're going to fall into the federally mandated cap of $65,000 for bachelor's or its equivalent, or $20,000, which is a U.S. master's degree. And those H-1B visas have to be filed on April 1st, which means that we're going to be scurrying on March 31st to get those visas out the door.
We might be scurrying on March 1st.
Right.
Depending on how things are moving along with the H-1B cohort. And if I could just take a moment to explain recent history of the H-1B. I don't know if you've done a video on this actually. Recently, in recent years, not including last year, H-1Bs remained available after the April 1st date, and it was not hard to get somebody an H-1B visa or make an application for an H-1B visa in August, October. I think that they didn't run out until around January for the 3 years preceding last year.
Right, and what happened last year? Maybe tell everyone what happened last year, because that really sent chills, I think, down everyone's spine.
I don't think anyone expected it, but there was a complete uptick in the H-1Bs, and we returned to the days of the more further back past, about 5 years ago, when there was
much greater demand.
Much greater demand. I think in many of the years, there was 3 to 1.
That's right.
So for every one visa that was available, 3 applications had been made. Approximately 190,000 applications were made, and you know, the government has all sorts of ways of dealing with this. Mostly, they just start shutting the doors to the applications at any given time. They could go into a lottery system. But the important thing to know is that April 1st is a hard deadline, and I would say all indications are that they will run out of H-1B visas very quickly. They ran out of them in a week last year.
It was 3 days. Yeah.
3 days.
3 days.
Excuse me?
That's okay.
Felt like a week.
Yeah, it was. It was about a week. If you figure with the weekend, it was about 5 days. Yeah.
Right, and so everyone needs to think about it. We're about 5 months now from April 1st. And I think there's probably a lot of executive decisions that need to be made about people coming over from overseas to help your company. And we want to be here at NPZ Law Group to provide any counseling, sort of pre-filing counseling that a company might need. This is a business immigration firm, and we understand not just the visa piece of the immigration application, but we understand business needs. So pre-filing discussions may be warranted, and we'd certainly like to talk to our present clients and anybody interested in our services.
And so the video is really entitled, It's Never Too Early to Start Thinking About April 1st. And with that, let's think about some of the things that you can do as a potential H-1B petitioner or beneficiary to get yourself ready for April 1st. Because we're already getting calls about the H-1B deadline, about April 1st, and we're already opening files, and we're already in you know, we're already in late October. We have many months, and yet we're still opening files. So what are some of the things that you can do to get yourself ready for the April 1st deadline? Well, one of the things that you can do is, if you haven't already done this, if you think that you qualify based upon either academics alone, or, and if they're foreign academics, or academics plus experience, is do an equivalency evaluation. So there are organizations throughout the United States that will do equivalency evaluations. Some of these equivalency evaluations will be based, as I said, on academics alone, and usually it's based upon foreign academics. Or it could be based upon academics plus experience, which is what we call a combination equivalency. Or it could be based upon experience alone, using what's called the 3-to-1 rule. The 3-to-1 rule is in the regulations, where 3 years of professional level work equals 1 year of baccalaureate. So that's one of the things that you can do, certainly, to get yourself ready for the H-1B filing time, is to do that. Another thing you can do is, of course, start to talk to your employer. And what would be a good way to start to talk to the employer about the H-1B?
Well, if you're already on an H-1B and you need a renewal, of course, that's a very easy way. But in terms of being somebody who's moving to an H-1B status?
Yeah, so we have an individual, a lot of our clients are in OPT, they're students.
Right.
And what they're doing is they're moving from OPT into H-1B. So now is the time, because it's holiday time, to start talking to your boss or talking to your manager or talking to your division head about the H-1B, because, you know, at the end of the year is the time that businesses start to contemplate bonuses, and they start to contemplate, you know, times to reward good staff, with certain things. So obviously one of the things that you might want to consider is, if your boss is thinking about that, and they call you in for a review, and your boss is telling you what a great job you're doing, what an excellent employee you are, well, one of the things to say is, oh, and by the way, I happen to be an OPT, and I'm going to need sponsorship within the next several months, and that's definitely something that you can help me with. So that's one of the things, and it's kind of an art form to take up the discussion with your employer about the possibility of being sponsored for an H-1B.
That's a great point, that what we're dealing with in terms of preparing is for people to know about the requirements of the H-1B, like the equivalencies, and to get their sponsors in line. So certainly, if you're working with somebody now and you need an H-1B, you should gather all the information that you need about the H-1B, because an employer might not be so savvy to it.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you an example that I have in my own practice. I was working with some pharmacists who are on OPT, working in pharmacies that are just a little bigger than mom and pop. And these organizations do not have the, they don't have an HR professional sitting in the back room for the 7 people that work at this place. This is something where an owner does a lot of the administrative work on his own. An owner pharmacist, no less. And so I coached these OPT pharmacy students or post students as to how they would talk to their supervising pharmacist about moving into H1 status. And you actually have to present with a lot of knowledge, because your manager, supervisor, boss, division head is a busy person. And so that person is going to want to hear from you what exactly is involved in the H-1B process.
That's right. And our firm puts out white papers, which I believe are posted on our website, which you can certainly go to. And if you take a look at the video, I believe that our website address is on the video. You can send us an email, or if you can't find it, and we can provide you with a white paper, which is an overview of the H-1B process, which is boiled down to non-legalese, so that you can really understand it. And we also have checklists of documents that we would require from the H-1B employer and also from the prospective H-1B beneficiary. So what we try to do is to work with you and with your employer to try to help you understand the things that you need to bring to the attention of the employer to help them feel comfortable with the process.
You know, immigration for a potential employee can be daunting. It's not a small thing. I think probably everybody watching this video is aware that if they need to ask a boss for immigration help, it's not a small thing. So feel free to reach out to us.
Once again, I want to thank you very much for tuning in to Immigration News and Views from the NPZ Law Group. If you have any questions, either for you, your staff, any of your colleagues, please feel free to reach out for us. Thanks very much for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Bye now.